Let's talk about performance management. Let's talk about what do you do if you've got a member of your team who is not performing very well. Let's assume right away that you've made very clear expectations, that that member of your team knows what's expected of him or her, what results they're supposed to be achieving, and let's assume that they have been achieving some results for a while. Let's share with you a thing I like to call the why approach to performance management. And it's not the word why, it's the letter Y. So you got to imagine a capital Y, where it has a bottom that comes up, and then you can fork in the road and go this way, or you can fork in the road and go this way. The question we have is, do we address a performance problem with coaching, or do we address it with discipline? It's kind of a hard question to answer, but let's try. Let's assume now you have a member of your team who's been performing for a while, and they're in effect moving up the Y. They've been performing, they've been doing fine. Then they get to a fork in the road and their performance drops dramatically. Not a little bit, it's not a bad hair day, it's not an event that makes their performance go down, but their performance actually drops. They should be able to perform, but they're not. Do you coach them or do you discipline them? Well, always default to coaching if you want to go down this side of the Y. We'll call that the coaching side, or this side of the Y, which we'll call the discipline side. Always default to coaching if it is about a skill that they do not currently possess, or a skill that they don't possess as in a high level or high quality as they should. The coaching side is all about skill development. Your expectation, if you're to sit down with me and talk about improving my performance, would be that I get better at something, and that I probably can get better at something. I've gotten better at other things in the past, so perhaps I'll be able to get good at this. So you have a coaching conversation with me. If we come up to that fork in the road, that Y, and you take me down a coaching path, there's a few things that you must remember. First of all, as I said, it's about a skill that others have learned, and that I've demonstrated that I know how to learn something similar to it. I can learn this, is what you're assuming. You're also assuming that about 80% of the work that comes as I travel down this side of the Y is going to have to come from me, not from you, the coach. The coach can never be more excited about the player's development than the player is. The coach can never be more excited about the player's higher levels of performance than the player is. You're going to be in trouble if you are feeling that you as the coach, or someone you ask to come in and coach that employee, has to be the cheerleader and gin up all the excitement and all the enthusiasm and do the hard work and drag that person along. It'll never work. The person being coached has to be more excited, more engaged, and put more work into learning than the coach puts into teaching. I think of it like an 80-20 rule. 80% of this blood, sweat, and tears needs to come from the person being coached, not from the coach. Another thing to realize is that you're asking me, if you are coaching me down this side of the Y model, you are asking me to have incremental improvement in that skill. It's a skill I don't have, so I'm not just going to flip a switch and get good at it all of a sudden. You're going to expect me to grow incrementally, progressively over time, depending on how sophisticated the skill is. It could be a long time, or if it's not all that sophisticated, it could be a short time. But you want me to get better and better and better and better and better at that. Once I get better at that skill, and now I have the skill and I'm practicing it with increasing ability, and I don't need any more coaching, now you're going to pop me back into the middle of that, and I'm going to continue to perform at a higher and higher level. That's the coaching side of it. Again, take me down the coaching side if I don't have the skill and I need to learn the skill. And if I don't want to learn the skill, the coaching side isn't going to work. So then if I refuse to learn the skill, don't want to learn the skill, I try it and then I go, oh, this is not for me, I don't want to learn this. Now you have a choice to make. You need to take that responsibility away from me, give me other responsibilities, move me into a different position, or if this is a core skill to the job, maybe the job has only got 3 skills and this is one of them, and there's no way to function in this job without that skill set. Then you need to probably move me into another position completely, or if there's no room for me, then you need to make me available to industry, because I can't do the job. It's a core part of the job. But you tried, you coached me, and I tried, and I decided I don't want to do this. That's okay. People change jobs all the time. It's not a big deal. It's nothing to weep and gnash your teeth over. That's the coaching track. Remember, it's about incremental improvement of skills. What if you come up to that fork in the road back here and you realize I have all these skills. I've demonstrated them before or something like them, and now it's just for some set of reasons I'm not doing those skills anymore. And you've talked to me about this. You're not doing this. You've done it in the past. You're not doing it. And I say, I don't know. Or I say I'm going to do it, but then I don't. Now we're at a different place. Now we have to go down the discipline track. There's a big difference between coaching and discipline. Coaching that fails does not lead to discipline. You back up. If you've coached me and coached me and coached me and then I just give up and I say I don't want to do that anymore, it's not a progressive step to go to discipline, because if it is, then in my mind, everything is discipline. You'll learn this or you'll get disciplined. Then it's all discipline, right? So they're actually completely divergent paths. If I get down this coaching track and I say this isn't for me and I'm not going to learn this, or maybe I can't learn this and it's that big of a deal that I have to be able to learn this skill, then you back up. You go down to that conversation that we had 6 months ago or whenever that was. You draw this Y out in front of me and you say, okay, we're back here now. Because you don't want to or refuse to learn that skill, or because you have the skill and you're not using it, we're now going to go down a discipline track. Now, if your mind wandered, lean in right here. 100% of the effort on a discipline track comes from not you, my supervisor, my leader, my boss, my coach. It has to come from me. When we go down the discipline track, it is all up to me. Once you've made it clear what's expected of me, it's all up to me, 100%. I am now going to choose to use the skill I've got, the skill to learn, or the skill that I already have that I'm refusing to not use. Now we're down the discipline track. It is all up to me. You put all of the responsibility back on me, and you help me see what my choices are. And hear the phrase that you use. You would say to me, okay, D, we know you have the ability to do this. You're just not doing it. So we expect immediate and sustained change in performance. You have the ability. You've demonstrated you have the ability. You're just not doing it. Immediate and sustained change in performance. If you do not, we're going down the discipline track. If you do not do it, here's what the next step is. Most organizations, public and private, have got steps laid out when it comes to discipline. If you do not perform at this level, then this is the next thing that happens. If you don't perform then, after that happens, then this is the next thing that happens. And it's almost like there's 3 steps in almost every place I go. But what you're going to want to help me understand, you want to help me see the future. If I perform, I'm back on track. Great, we're done. We're moving on. High fives, let's get going. If I do not, then you're going to make me available to industry. I need to see what my future is. The choice is mine. That's the point. 100% of the responsibility is back on me. Now, maybe I won't like that. Maybe I'll try to blame and I'll try to say the winds of weirdness and gravity is turned up and I don't like glitter and who knows. I'll come up with all kinds of excuses, but that's all they are, is excuses. In reality, I should be able to perform. And if I'm not, and I should be able to perform and have demonstrated that I could in the past, and I'm not, it's a discipline track. Now, of course, not everything is either coaching or discipline. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with coaching or discipline. It has to do with clear expectations, with delegating responsibility for results, with supporting, with learning, with saying, hey, we all tried that. We've decided it doesn't work. Let's try something else. That has nothing to do with coaching or discipline. That's just the most of the time that's what you're going to be doing, is that stuff over there. But when it gets to a place where the performance is a problem and we have to deal with that problem, you're either going to take me down a coaching track where I carry most of the responsibility for learning what you're teaching me, or you're going to take me down a discipline track where I carry 100% of the responsibility for my choices because I know how to do it. And I can see what I need to be able to do. And you say to me, you expect immediate and sustained change in performance. The sustained part is very important, Because once I start doing it and the pressure is off, the temptation on my part is to go back to performing or not performing the way I was before in hopes that you'll forget. No, this is something you expect of me from now on, forever and ever. That's what the job is about. Now, the point of coaching is to get me back on track so that I perform at a higher level and grow. The point of discipline is to get me back on track so that I'm back in the fold and I'm performing at a higher level again. That's what that is all about. The downside of this is that you, as my boss, leader, supervisor, mentor, coach, whatever, you may take on more responsibility on the coaching side and on the discipline side than you should. It really should be mine. One of the most amazing, most powerful things we've got as members of a team, even as human beings, is our ability to choose. So make sure that you put the responsibility for choosing to learn or to improve on me where it belongs. Don't carry for me what is mine to carry. You'll feel guilty. You feel like I'm not doing this right. I'm not doing that right. What? Get over that stuff. You hired somebody who is a grown-up, and I will take responsibility for my own performance if you lead it this way. Again, full circle, let's go back to the bottom of the why. Down here, you've communicated your expectations clearly, very, very clearly. And if you've delegated responsibility for achieving results. Crystal clear. None of this works if I have no idea what's expected of me. There have been a lot of times over the years where people say, we got this performance problem, and I'll sit down with them in one of our enterprises, someone else's enterprises, and I'll say, have you communicated what's expected? Well, they should just know. No, they shouldn't. How could they know? Unless you write it down and communicate it to them and regularly visit what your expectations are. I expect this, so that this. I expect this, so that this. And then say, is that a realistic expectation? I don't know if it's realistic or not until we talk about it. All right, there you go. That's the why approach to managing performance. Have fun with that. Leadership is hard. Don't make it harder than it needs to be by carrying what's not yours to carry. Hey, here's to you. Have a great day.